Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid-South Wrestling Review Series, August 20th, 1983. Is our episode for the moment. And as we move towards the end of August, things are continually heating up here in Mid-South, as always. Skandar Akbar does side with, oddly enough, Butch Reed. Seems to have inquired Reed, and they talk about Jim Duggan and Duggan wanting to get his hands on Akbar pretty aggressively. That seems to be a major target here. Obviously, the issues between Duggan and Akbar go all the way back to several months with the DiBiase Matt Bourne breakdown there. Rip Rogers and Boris Zukov against Dr. Death and Magnum TA. Not necessarily sure I understand the pairing of Death and TA when, at this point, unless the match was taped before the Tag Team Championship win, which maybe it was, you know, you would think Duggan and TA would be your partners here. Anyway, TA manages to get a few arm drags, and then we see Dr. Death with a side headlock on Rip Rogers pretty aggressively, assertively, and then a tag off into the side headlock. And again, there we go. Williams, big body slam, and we see several side headlocks, hard shots by Steve Williams. Williams tags off to TA. TA, who is starting to come into his own, does get a roll up and a go behind 1, 2, and ultimately side headlock by TA. And again, there we go. Kind of a bit of a tag off, and all four guys in the ring. Zukov really hasn't found his role yet, but they're trying to find one for him. Steve Williams certainly willing to go, and then we see the hanging noose by in fact, by Zukov, and Zukov nails a knee lift and an atomic drop by Williams. Williams manages to nail a running tackle there, and again, kind of that tackle leads in a positive direction. Then we see Butch Reed and Hacksaw Duggan. This match has kind of been built up for a while. Reed and Duggan, bit of a brawl. They've been kind of at it with each other for a little bit. And then we see the hip toss by Duggan out of the corner. Duggan starts with the brawling, hits a few shoulder tackles and a big dropping knee, 1, 2, and out the back door comes Reed. Duggan obviously using more brawling, but also continually using hip tosses, and then go behinds with chin locks and the like. Kick by Reed. Reed not happy with what is occurring here. Shot to the midsection by Reed, and there we go. Reed manages to hit a couple of shots, and again, that's pretty well, asserted there. Shots into the buckle by Reed. Reed then snaps Duggan over with with several shots. Snapmare. Duggan continues the brawl. Reed comes out the back door again on a near fall. Reed continually landing on his feet, but just barely. I mean, it's not, it's pretty clear that Reed has his issues as far as where things would go. And ultimately, we see a bit of a lockup by Reed and shots by Reed with the right under the chin, and ultimately hits the running knee, and hard shots again by Duggan. Duggan several punches and sends Reed off the ropes. Kind of hits the flying tackle, for lack of a better term, and hard shots there as well. Kick to the midsection by Reed. Reed manages to go for what looked like a bulldog, but the referee goes flying. The referee going flying does not bode well for Duggan. Duggan is in control for a little bit. He hits the football tackle, but doesn't get all he wants. Meanwhile, we see Kamala come in and destroy Duggan. Several splashes. Reed holding him in place. Kamala goes to the top rope and hits a second rope. Hits a second rope splash, and Kamala pretty dominant there. Akbar calls out Duggan because if Duggan won, which I believe he does here by disqualification, Duggan was supposed to get 5 minutes alone with Akbar, but obviously Akbar led to or orchestrated the attack on Duggan, which led then to Duggan's inability to manage to go in a positive direction with that win. DiBiase and Bundy versus Wrestling 2 and Tim Horner is up next, and DiBiase and Bundy is an interesting pairing. Obviously, Akbar still with DiBiase, and I guess a loose affiliation with Bundy as well. Wrestling 2 and DiBiase squaring off. I wonder if they ever wrestled anywhere on a regular basis. I imagine maybe Georgia for a while. That would make sense. Tag off behind the back by DiBiase to Bundy. Bundy and Wrestling 2 go at it pretty aggressively. Then we see Tim Horner come in, try to cut things off, and it doesn't really go all that well. Horner continuing to get a rub from being with just about everybody in the babyface locker room, which certainly is a good thing. Then we see the kind of the tie up there, and Irish whip, and Bundy with a back elbow. And DiBiase then hits a shot to the midsection, and again, big body slam by DiBiase, tag off, and ultimately, it is Tim Horner who manages to kind of trip up, and then we see he trips up because of DiBiase's involvement. Meanwhile, Wrestling 2 comes in, hits a modified knee lift, dropkick under the chin by Horner. Horner then manages to see Wrestling 2 with a knee lift, and ultimately we see a 3 count by Bundy, who manages to keep things going in that direction. And we get a momentary victory. Skandor Akbar introduces the missing link. The missing link is named Max. He's not crazy, according to Akbar. I think he'd have a difficult time selling that. Missing link and Johnny Rich is up next. Johnny Rich has been an enhancement talent type fellow for several weeks here. And Link jumping around. Of course, Link, a major guy in the World Class Series. If you haven't listened to our World Class Series, worth giving that a listen. Rich manages several arm drags and a drop kick or two under the chin of his adversary, and we see some shots by the Link. Link, pretty aggressive and choking out his adversary here. In any event, Link also with a couple of chokes, and again, Link manages to drop the leg and gets a roll through there. Big shot into the buckle and cross body. Hard shots by the benefit of Johnny Rich. Rich with shots in the midsection. Link goes off into the buckle and gets atomic dropped for his trouble. Dropkick under the chin by Johnny Rich. And Rich is certainly having some challenges there. The Irish whip attempted, and ultimately, second rope with the headbutt by the Link. Link sends his opponent to the outside. Then we get to see Mike McGee, new guy here, Junkyard Dog, and not a new guy by any stretch. Obviously, Dog, one of the biggest talents in the area at the time or at any time, really. Dog remains probably, I would say, in the top three biggest guys in the territory from 81, 82 through the end of his run in 85 at least. And maybe, I don't know that anybody replaced him, DiBiase being another one who falls in those top three, I would imagine. Anyway, some shots, and we see a clothesline by the Dog. Dog pretty aggressive with his affirmation that he wants things going in a positive direction that way. Shot by the Dog right under the, I wouldn't say under the chin, but again, a shot there. And, Dog manages to hit a pretty aggressive clothesline. He continues that pretty well, and Dog with the body slam there. 1, 2, 3, and away we go. Crusher Darso against Art Cruz. Cruz manages to kind of go with a attempted series of body slams, and Darso really kind of muscling his guy along and around here. It is clear that he does not want to do anything other than be as victorious as can be. He's got him up in the inverted backbreaker. That a guy like a Iron Mike Sharp, who'd been in the territory for a while, was using, and then he gets a victory that way. Vines and Barber versus Jackson and Stroud. Not a match to write home about. Doug Vines, Randy Barber, both enhancement talents, Mike Jackson and Joshua Stroud. Mike Jackson is the African-American Mike Jackson this time. We've seen another guy with the same name, although much different looking, there. And, it is what it is as far as that's concerned. But again, kind of fights out and gets the advantage to the best of his ability. The match really doesn't go too far. Up and over by Stroud, and some Irish whips. Decent cross body at one point from the second rope. And, they've got some fire. But again, this is more of an enhancement match to kind of show the, I guess, variation of things. Some back elbows by Vines, and Stroud kind of doesn't do very well, although does get an inside cradle at a midpoint in the match. Jackson tagged in and does pretty okay. The continuation of the match is good and just and all that stuff. Big body slam into a almost a press slam like maneuver there. And we will see an arm drag ultimately, and a couple of shots along the way. Stroud manages a big shot, including an enziguri and a drop kick under the chin. Irish whip attempted and received. Big inverted monkey flip, and Stroud manages to run things for a while. Power slam by Jackson, and he gets the victory off the power slam. We close the day with, in fact, that match, and we'll be back to close out the month of August in just a few shakes of a lamb's tail here on Pro Wrestling Logic.